Welcome back to Chapter by Chapter Classics, the short-form classic literature podcast, where each episode walks you through a few chapters of a great book. Previously in Pride and Prejudice, we set the stage for Jane Austen's world, met the Bennet family and other key characters, and outlined the social rules and themes that drive the story. In this episode, we're jumping into chapters 1 through 6, where Netherfield Park is let, the neighborhood meets Bingley and Darcy, and some very strong first impressions are formed.
Okay, let's get into it. We are opening the pages of Jane Austen's classic, Pride and Prejudice. And we're really focusing in on just the first 6 chapters because, honestly, if you forget the movies for a second and go back to the text, the entire novel, the whole epic story, is basically set up in those first few moments.
That's absolutely right. And for this deep dive, you should think of us as your guides to that foundation. We're looking for the social pressures, the financial realities that are driving everyone.
And those critical first impressions, the ones that, set up the title themes, Pride and Prejudice.
Exactly. It's all there from the start.
I mean, Austen is just a master at this. She uses these seemingly tiny details, right? A glimpse of a man's coat, or who sits where at dinner.
Or a single whispered insult.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
A single insult to get the whole world spinning. You really can't appreciate the drama later on without understanding how tightly she builds this foundation.
It is an incredibly tight world. And chapters 1 and 2, they just throw us right in. It's an urgent situation. For the Bennet family at Longbourn, it's nothing short of a crisis.
And that crisis really starts with maybe the most famous opening line in English literature.
It is a truth universally acknowledged
That a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife.
It sounds so grand, but it's really just the entire social rulebook in one sentence.
It really is. It's the neighborhood's wishful thinking, but for Mrs. Bennet, it's a statement of desperate economic reality.
Right. Her whole purpose in life, her sole function, is to get her 5 daughters married off.
So when Mr. Bingley, this wealthy guy, arrives at Netherfield Park, she sees it as, destiny. It's divine intervention.
We see that single-mindedness right away. She has to get her daughters established. But I have to ask, we often kind of laugh at Mrs. Bennet for being so tiresome.
Mr. Bennet certainly does.
But is her frantic energy actually, understandable? Isn't she the only one really being responsible for their future? That is a fantastic point. It's the tragedy of Mrs. Bennet. She's the only one who fully gets what a precipice they're all standing on.
So for anyone who might not remember the entail, what does that actually mean for the Bennet girls?
Well, their home, Longbourn, is entailed away from the female line. Since Mr. Bennet has no son, the estate legally has to pass to a male heir when he dies.
In this case, their cousin, Mr. Collins.
A man they've never even met. So if none of the girls marry well, Mrs. Bennet and all 5 daughters will be homeless. They'll be penniless, depending on the charity of relatives.
Wow.
So when she hears Bingley has 4,000 or 5,000 a year, that's not just gossip. That's the sound of a ticking clock possibly stopping.
That puts a serious weight behind her. Yeah, her every panicked move. Now, Mr. Bennet, on the other hand, he's all ironic detachment.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
He absolutely loves vexing his wife. He holds back, waits till the last minute to reveal he's already done the one crucial thing he had to do.
He paid the initial visit to Mr. Bingley.
The required social protocol. It's a masterful move. He does his duty, but he keeps his intellectual distance. He prefers, little Lizzie to his wife's scheming.
He does give his hearty consent for Bingley to marry any of them, but not before putting in a good word for Elizabeth.
He does.
And that detail that the men have to make the first social call, it's so perfect for the era. The women are just stuck at home, building all their hopes on the absolute flimsiest evidence.
They're literally left to just catch a glimpse of him from a window as he's leaving. And what's the big takeaway?
He wore a blue coat and rode a black horse.
And that's it. That's the entire foundation of a potential fortune for 5 young women. It just shows you the incredibly limited information they were working with.
Which makes their first actual meeting in Chapter 3 at the Meryton Ball, the scene where everything is on the line.
Yes. Everyone is here, all the major players, and the contrasts between them are just immediate and stark.
So we start with Mr. Charles Bingley. The first impression is great, exactly what everyone hoped for.
Handsome, agreeable.
And he has that income. 4,000 or 5,000 a year. And crucially, he's attentive. He dances every single dance.
And his admiration for Jane Bennet is obvious from the get-go. He is the perfect catch.
But he doesn't come alone. He's got an entourage, and that's where things get complicated.
Very complicated. We meet his two sisters, Miss Bingley and Mrs. Hurst, and the book immediately tells us they are proud and conceited.
Very fine ladies, educated in the first private seminaries.
Oh, right. And what's so fascinating is where their snobbery comes from. It's not just general arrogance.
No, it's rooted in a deep social insecurity, isn't it?
Exactly. They are very sensitive that their family fortune was acquired by trade. They are new money.
So they're desperately trying to climb the social ladder, associate with people of rank?
And they use their scorn for the Bennets, for this country family, as a way to kind of elevate their own fragile status. They need to look down on someone.
And then we get the man who doesn't need to try. The man with the real rank and money. Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy.
His fortune is just vast. A clear 10,000 per annum.
Mm-hmm. He's tall, he's handsome, but his manners are immediately judged as, well, haughty.
And his pride isn't manufactured like the sisters. It's not vanity. It's just ingrained. It's this insurmountable barrier he puts up between himself and this, provincial society. Mm-hmm. He just stands there for half the night in total disdain.
Which, of course, brings us to the moment. The iconic insult that sets Elizabeth's feelings and the novel's title in stone.
Mm.
Elizabeth has to sit out a couple of dances, and she overhears Bingley trying to get Darcy to dance with someone.
And Darcy's reply is just astonishing in its public arrogance.
He just dismisses Elizabeth completely. He says, she is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me.
It's just a moment of profound public humiliation rooted entirely in Darcy's own massive ego. He thinks his position gives him the right to just judge and dismiss people.
Tolerable. I mean, wow, it still swings 200 years later. Austen sets up that offense so brutally.
It's the spark, the absolute spark.
And this is where the genius of Austen really shines, in Elizabeth's reaction. This is the big reveal for her character in Chapter 4.
Right. Instead of being crushed, she finds it amusing.
Genuinely amusing. She tells the story to her friends often. It shows her core strength, that quickness of observation and less pliancy of temper. She's not going to just retreat.
That amusement is so key. But even though she can laugh, the insult still hurts, which brings us right to the novel's core theme. She's talking it over with her friend Charlotte Lucas.
And she lands on this perfect line. She says she could easily forgive his pride if he had not mortified mine.
And there it is. The themes are officially launched. Darcy has pride, a high opinion of himself. Elizabeth is wounded because his pride attacked her self-image, her vanity.
And her reaction, her hostility, is her prejudice. It's born right from that mortified feeling.
And luckily for us, the bookish middle sister, Mary Bennet, is there to give us the philosophical breakdown.
Right. In Chapter 5, she literally defines the terms.
She does. Mary says vanity and pride are different things. Pride is about our own opinion of ourselves. It's internal.
And vanity is what we want others to think of us. That's external.
Exactly. Darcy is consumed by his internal pride. Elizabeth's reaction is external. Her vanity was attacked. Her prejudice is just a defense mechanism against that attack.
And if we look at the other Bennet sister, Jane, the contrast is just huge.
Oh, completely.
Jane sees only the good in everyone. She thinks Miss Bingley and Mrs. Hurst are very pleasing. She takes their superficial compliments at face value.
But Elizabeth's judgment is much sharper. She sees right through them. She senses their superciliousness. She's wary, even though she's happy for Jane, that Bingley clearly likes her.
The optimist versus the skeptic. It's a beautiful dynamic. And by Chapter 6, the social maneuvering starts to really deepen that class divide.
It does. The Netherfield ladies return the visit, but they clearly only tolerate Jane and Elizabeth. They think Mrs. Bennet is intolerable.
And the younger sisters are not worth speaking to.
They're actively building a wall to feel superior, and Bingley seems completely oblivious to it.
Chapter 6 also gives us maybe the most profound bit of social commentary so far. The conversation between Elizabeth and Charlotte Lucas about marriage strategy.
A very important scene.
We learn Jane and Bingley have known each other a fortnight. They've danced 4 times, dined 4 times, and Elizabeth is sure Jane is falling in love.
And this is where we meet Charlotte, the anti-romantic.
Yeah.
She offers this chillingly pragmatic advice.
She says, happiness in marriage is entirely a matter of chance. It is better to know as little as possible of the defects of the person with whom you are to pass your life.
It's brutal.
It really is. Is she just a cynic, or is she the ultimate realist of the novel? Does she kind of represent what modern dating can feel like sometimes, just a calculation?
I think she's the ultimate realist for a woman with no fortune. Elizabeth rejects it, of course. She says Jane is acting from genuine feeling, not by design.
But for Charlotte, it isn't a game. It's survival.
Exactly. She knows that once a man shows interest, a woman has to secure him fast. Or he might just change his mind and leave her with nothing.
Ugh.
It's sound, if desperate, economic advice.
It perfectly captures that clash of ideals, romantic hope versus, cynical necessity. But while Elizabeth is judging Charlotte, she's still holding on to her own prejudice against Darcy.
She is. And ironically, that's what's starting to attract him.
Right. The text says she draws his notice because there's something about her more wrong and reprehensible than the others.
Meaning she doesn't just fawn over him.
Yeah.
She challenges his expectations. She doesn't fit in.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Miss Bingley sees this spark of interest and she tries to shut it down.
She immediately starts mocking Elizabeth's family, her low connections. She jokes about putting a portrait of their attorney uncle next to Darcy's aristocratic great uncle.
She's using their low social status as a weapon against Elizabeth, trying to force Darcy to remember his own high rank.
But it completely backfires. Darcy listens with perfect indifference to it all because he's already, captivated.
He even admits to himself that he would be in some danger if it weren't for her family. But the text confirms the change in him. It says he had never been so bewitched by any woman as he was by her.
And that's where we leave it. We end the first 6 chapters with the core conflict perfectly set.
Yeah.
The proud man is already starting to fall for the prejudiced woman in spite of himself.
So what does this all mean? I think it's clear. In just these first chapters, the entire foundation of the novel is set through financial pressure, class insecurity, and 2 key social moments.
Darcy's immense self-centered pride leads directly to that condescending insult,
which then hardens instantly into Elizabeth's witty but bitter prejudice. The social, the financial, the emotional forces are all in place before the main action even really begins.
And that setup is so critical because her prejudice comes from a place of wounded vanity, not deep moral judgment, which leads to the final thought I want to leave you with.
Okay.
Elizabeth's early reaction to the offense, her ability to laugh at being called tolerable, is ironically the very thing that allows Darcy to keep observing her.
Right, because her strength of mind means she doesn't just run away and hide.
Precisely. She doesn't retreat. She returns fire with wit. Darcy even notes her sweetness and archness make it hard for her to actually offend anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I challenge you to think about how often in our own lives our mortified pride just shuts down our thinking and completely dictates our judgment of someone. Elizabeth, by letting herself be amused rather than crushed, leaves the door open, just a tiny crack.
A crack for the whole story to walk through.
Exactly. It's the entire reason these two ever speak a second word to each other.
That's chapters 1 through 6 of Pride and Prejudice, a neighborhood stirred up by new arrivals, Jane and Bingley quietly drawn to each other, and Elizabeth's pride wounded by Darcy's careless words. In the next episode, we'll move into chapters 7 through 12, where Jane's visit to Netherfield turns into an extended stay, and Elizabeth's muddy walk sets up some awkward but important evenings with Darcy and the Bingley party. Thanks for listening to Chapter by Chapter Classics. If this episode helped you follow the story, follow the show in your podcast app so you don't miss the next chapter. And if you're enjoying this series, please take a moment to rate the podcast or leave a short review. It really helps other readers and students find the show.